Welcome to the final chapter of 50 World's Greatest Football Club Teams of All Time. I am your anchor, Harry. Let's dive in. 18. Millonarios 1950 to 1954. In the late 1940s, Colombia's economy was booming, and much of that money wound up being poured into the country's football league, particularly the Bogotá-based club Millonarios. When FIFA protested the team's free spending ways and revoked their sanction, that didn't stop them from buying up all of the best talent they could find, most notably Alfredo Di Stefano, Adolfo Pedernera and Nestor Rossi, forming La Balle Azul. For 4 years, from 1950 until 1954, Millonarios ruled the football world. Everyone wanted a piece, shirking FIFA's sanctions and playing the juggernaut anyway. Typically, La Balle Azul were victorious, and became one of the most famous clubs in the world. But the cash dried up in 1954, as Colombia descended into political turmoil. The party ended. FIFA granted the team a year to impress the world, which they happily did, but the glory days of Millonarios ended as abruptly as they had begun, as all of their foreign talent departed to more lucrative shores. 17. Manchester United 1957-1958. Few teams on earth had as much potential for glory as the 1957-1958 Manchester United squad, known affectionately as Busby's Babes. Manager Matt Busby had used the Red Devils youth program to full extent, and with a dominant club, the results were going to come to fruition soon. From promising strikers Bobby Charlton and Dennis Viollet, to goalkeepers Ray Wood and Harry Gregg, this young team looked to dominate Europe for years to come. But that all changed one fateful night in February 1958, when the plane they were in crashed on a Munich runway covered in slush. 8 players were killed, while most of the rest of the team suffered serious injuries. Busby himself had last rites read to him twice during the ensuing days, while several young players, including Johnny Berry and Jackie Blanchflower, either never played again, or were never the same again. While Busby's Babes never reached their potential, this talented team more than merits a spot on this list. 16. AC Milan, 1990. From 1988 through 1990, AC Milan were the team in Italy, and possibly in the entire world. Known as Gli Immortali, the Immortals, Milan found themselves at the peak of their dominance in 1989-90, blasting through Serie A and the European Cup for the second consecutive season. They also took home the Intercontinental Cup for the second straight season, crowning themselves as one of the greatest teams the world has ever known. Led by forwards Marco van Basten and Ruud Gullit, midfielders Frank Rijkaard, Marco Donadoni and Carlo Ancelotti, and their typical Milan defense, few could stop them as they embarked on a run of unprecedented success. 15. Barcelona, 2010-2011. I realize this season is far from over for Barca, but if results so far are any indication, we're dealing with a team angling to make history. They've lost all of one La Liga match all season, and sit a comfortable 5 points clear of second-place Real Madrid. They've allowed a total of 15 goals in La Liga this season, and the plus 66 goal differential is one of the greatest of all time. Barca is rolling through the Champions League, rallying to dispatch Arsenal in the round of 16, with a fairly soft quarter-final clash against Shakhtar Donetsk on tap next. They've reached the finals of the Copa del Rey, set to kick off April 20th against Real Madrid. Led by the sublime talents of Lionel Messi, David Villa and Pedro on the front line, a midfield laden with an unprecedented amount of talent, Xavi, Andres Iniesta, and Sergio, and a staunch defense anchored by Carlos Puyol, Gerard Piqué, Eric Abidal, and Dani Alves, with keeper Victor Valdez at the back, Barca could be one of the most talented teams in history. All that's left is picking up some hard-earned hardware, which the Catalans seem poised to do with relative ease. Granted, if they collapse down the stretch and come away empty-handed, they lose their top team status. But, with 3 candidates for FIFA's Player of the Year, including the eventual winner, this year's Barca squad is as talented as anyone on this list, if not more so. 14. Nottingham Forest, 1978-1979. When Brian Clough took over tiny English club Nottingham Forest, few could have anticipated the kind of run he would lead the team on. From promotion to the First Division in 1976-1977, Clough promptly led Forest to the 1977-1978 league title, thereby taking a berth in the European Cup. The next season's First Division crown would be taken by Liverpool, but more or less every other conceivable trophy was won by Forest, as they shot through the League Cup, European Super Cup, and Community Shield. They would repeat as European Cup champions in 1979-1980, while adding a second-place finish in the Intercontinental Cup. Forest featured some prominent players from the era, including goalkeeper Peter Shilton, striker Trevor Francis, and Scottish internationals in winger John Robertson, midfielder Archie Gemmill and defender Kenny Burns. While they never had the star power of other clubs, Forest were one of the dominant forces in European football during the late 1970s. 13. Real Madrid, 1998. In 1997–1998 Real Madrid would end the season as European champions, thanks to a star-studded cast of characters, including Clarence Seedorf, Christian Panucci, Roberto Carlos and Raúl. They rolled through the Champions League that season, delivering the club's seventh European title, and ultimately won the Intercontinental Cup as well, establishing themselves as the best team in the world. While Madrid struggled in La Liga, few teams can claim to match their dominance in international competition, particularly during the 1997–1998 season. 12. Glasgow Celtic, 1966–1967. The Lisbon Lions, as this team is affectionately known, are the most successful side in the history of Scottish football, which is no small feat. The 1966–1967 Celtic side ran away with the Scottish League title, the Scottish Cup and the Scottish League Cup, but they had their sights set higher. Coached by Jock Stein and featuring a five-man front line, Celtic played a fast-paced, wide-open style that was fun to watch and as aesthetically pleasing as they come. However, they faced a stern challenge in defensively minded Inter Milan in the European Cup finals in Lisbon, a team favoured to take the title. However, thanks to a pair of goals from Tommy Gemmill and Steve Chalmers in the final half-hour of the match, the Scottish side became the first British team to win a European Championship, and remain one of three Scottish sides to win a European title. Rangers, the other dominant force in Scottish football, took home the 1972 Cup Winners' Cup, while Aberdeen won the 1983 Cup Winners' Cup. 11. Manchester United, 2007–2008. In 2007–2008, the Premiership race came down to two teams, Manchester United and Chelsea. The Red Devils, led by an unprecedented offensive force featuring Carlos Tevez, Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney, Manchester United snagged the EPL title on the last day of the season. They finished second in both the FA and League Cups, but helped ease that pain with a thrilling victory over Chelsea in the Champions League final, to give Old Trafford another European crown. They went on to snag world champion distinctions in the Club World Cup, and would ultimately be seen as one of the greatest, deepest United teams in history. 10. Barcelona 1991–1992. In 1988, former Barcelona standout Johan Cruyff returned to the Nou Camp to become the team's manager. He immediately set about putting together a dream team, featuring some of the best talent the world had to offer. From Spaniards Pep Guardiola, Txiki Begiristain and José Mari Baquero to international superstars like Ronald Koeman, Romario and Michael Laudrup, few teams were as stacked as the Cruyff-Barca squads of the early 90s, but none were more dominant than the 1991–1992 installment. With its second consecutive La Liga title wrapped up, Barca went on to take home the European Cup, UEFA Super Cup, Spanish Super Cup, and an Intercontinental Cup during the same season. Few teams have ever ruled with such control as the Catalan side did in 1991–1992, and it's clear why Cruyff was the longest tenured manager in club history, lasting 8 seasons before getting fired. 9. Santos, 1962–1963. Few teams in the history of the sport can boast the kind of talent featured by Brazilian side Santos in the 1960s. They featured names like Pelé, Pepe and Coutinho, and tore off a chunk of unprecedented world dominance, peaking in 1962–1963. Fresh off a sweep of potential trophies in 1961–1962, including a Copa de Libertadores and an Intercontinental Cup, Santos did it again in 1962–1963, blasting to a Brazilian national title, Copa de Libertadores, and Intercontinental Cup with ease. It is said that the great Real Madrid clubs of the era played Santos once, and escaped with a draw. After that, Real's legendary owner, president, manager, Santiago Bernabéu, declared that Real would never play Santos again, not even in their massive Estadio Bernabéu. Apocryphal or not, I think that tells you just how frighteningly good this team was. 8. Torino, 1946–1947. In the 1940s, few teams dominated the football landscapes the way Torino FC controlled Italian football. Known as Il Grande Torino, the northern Italian team featured the biggest names in Italian football at the time, including goalkeeper Valerio Bacigalupo, Aldo Ballerin, Virgilio Moroso, Eusebio Castellano, Romeo Mento, Valentino Mazzola, Franco Ossola and Guglielmo Gabetto. Typically either 10 Torino players, and on occasion, all 11 players, started for the Italian national team, and it was clear that Torino was a force to be reckoned with. In May of 1949, the Italian national team, essentially Torino, remember, was heading from Hungary to Torino following a friendly with Hungary, when the jet they were flying in crashed into the base of the Superga Basilica, just outside of Torino, killing everyone aboard. The club, devastated by the loss of its stars, was never the same again. But Italian fans speak in reverent tones about this side, widely believed to be one of the best in Italian history. 7. Real Madrid, 1959-1960. The last year of Real's dominance of Europe was also one of their greatest seasons of all time. With the same cast of Ferenc Puskás, Alfredo Di Stefano, José Santamaría, and Luis del Sol running the show, Madrid swept through almost every conceivable league and continental title, beating Eintracht Frankfurt 7-3 in the European Cup final, and nearly taking the Copa del Rey, finishing second. But, this time, Real didn't stop with Europe, blasting their way through Uruguay's Peñarol to win the first Intercontinental Cup. This was Madrid at the peak, when they seemed most unbeatable, which is why they're so much higher on the list than any other Real squad. 6. Liverpool, 1983-1984. Under manager Bob Paisley, Liverpool had become one of the most powerful teams in Europe, but heading into the 1983-1984 season, Paisley was gone, replaced by assistant Joe Fagan. Not that it mattered much, as the talented Reds embarked on one of their most glorious seasons ever. They netted the League Cup in December, the Football League title in May, and finally, scored a European Cup victory in June, etching their names in the history books. With names like Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Craig Johnston, Ian Rush, Ronnie Whelan, Sammy Lee, and possibly insane goalkeeper Bruce Grobbelaar backstopping a formidable Anfield defence, it's clear why this Liverpool squad is looked at as one of the greatest ever to take the pitch. 5. Ajax, 1971-1972. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Dutch style of total football became all the rage, and no team better embodied the concept than Ajax. The Dutch juggernauts were captained by the indomitable Johan Cruyff, whose skills in the midfield were unmatched. In 1972, Ajax hit the peak of dominance, achieving a true treble by winning the Eredivisie, KNVB Cup and European Cup. Led by Cruyff and national team stars like Dick van Dijk, Ruud Krol, Jerry Muren, Nico Reinders, and Heinz Stay, the club added an Intercontinental Cup, and looked unbeatable. But then, like all great things, it came to an abrupt end in 1973-1974. Cruyff headed to Barcelona, signaling the end of total football at Ajax, and in 1974, they fell to CSKA Sofia in the European Cup. Even so, the 1971-1972 installment of Ajax remains one of the most famous clubs in history, and with its combination of talent and titles, they deserve this spot. 4. Barcelona, 2008-2009. Few teams in the history of world football can claim the kind of dominance that Spanish side Barcelona flashed in 2008-2009. With one of the most talented rosters in history, featuring Lionel Messi, Samuel Eto'o and Thierry Henry at forward, Xavi, Andrés Iniesta and Yaya Touré at midfield, and Carles Puyol, Gerard Piqué, Dani Alves and Eric Abidal at fullback, with Victor Valdés in goal, and the indomitable Pep Guardiola managing, it was almost a foregone conclusion that Barca would put together an unprecedented run of dominance, winning La Liga, the Copa del Rey, the Champions League, and, eventually, the Club World Cup. With its modernized version of total football, the Catalan juggernaut wasn't just fun to watch, they were almost unstoppable, and have entered the annals of history as one of the top teams of all time. 3. Inter Milan, 1964-1965. Good luck scoring on this bunch. Much like many of the greatest teams in Italian football history, the Inter Milan squad of 1964-1965, managed by the legendary Helenio Herrera, was renowned for their impenetrable defense. Led by captain Giacinto Facchetti, keeper Giuliano Sarti, sweeper Armando Picchi, and Tarcisio Burnic, Inter won the second straight Serie A title, as well as the second straight European Cup, and the second straight world title. For 3 years, few could touch Inter, but in 1964-1965, no one came close to the Italian club in terms of talent or skill, particularly defensively. 2. Bayern Munich, 1973-1974. This was Bayern at their most unstoppable. In the midst of their run of dominance in the mid-1970s, the 1973-1974 season stands out because of just how dominant the German giants were. Beckenbauer was leading the charge from the defense, Uli Hoeneß and Gerd Müller were firing in goals, and Bayern were rolling like never before. What sets this team apart was its dominance at home as well as abroad, as Bayern took the Bundesliga title, as well as the European Cup, winning both with relative ease. The Germans declined to participate in the Intercontinental Cup, denying them the chance for a world title, but even without one, this was without a doubt one of the greatest, deepest, most talented squads to ever grace a football pitch. 1. Manchester United, 1998-1999. This is the team. The one who won it all, who did the unthinkable, who got Sir Alex Ferguson knighted. The 1998-1999 Red Devils were favoured to win the Premiership that season, but few expected the kind of dominance we all got. From goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel, to a backline featuring Gary and Phil Neville, Jaap Stam and Dennis Irwin, through one of the greatest midfields of all time, featuring Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Nicky Butt, and David Beckham, all the way up to forwards Dwight Yorke, Andy Cole, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Teddy Sheringham, it was hard to find many flaws at Old Trafford. When the dust settled, United had reached unprecedented territory, the treble, picking up the FA Cup, Premiership title and Champions League title. Let's break down why this was impressive. In order to win the Premiership, United needed 35 non-losses, 22 wins, 13 draws out of 38 games. On top of that, they had to play 8 games in the FA Cup to win it, thanks to a pair of replays in the quarter and semi-finals, all against the best league in the world. Finally, there was the Champions League, a grueling 13-game slog against the best teams Europe has to offer. That's 59 games over the course of a season. Typically, English clubs drop one of the 3 titles as a throwaway, to avoid playing such a brutal schedule, but not United. The next season, United grabbed an Intercontinental Cup win, and while they crashed out of FIFA's inaugural Club World Cup, that was more a product of fatigue and Ferguson not caring much about the event. For their unprecedented accomplishment, United are our greatest team in football history. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more fun stuff.